it was there. It was highlighting to me and it was saying, Dan, when are you going to practice today? Hi there, Happy New Year. Welcome to the first vlog of 2023. I've missed you lot. I've missed doing the vlogs. I'm sorry, I have not been able to keep up with them. There are lots of other things going on, some of which I'll explain in future vlogs. Can't explain right now for various reasons, but I have missed making vlogs, but I wanted to really kick off a new year with a new vlog and just go through a few things. The first thing I wanted to talk about though was this delivery. Without ripping what's inside. I've gone back and I have got another wall platter. He hopes. Oh, bugger, it's ripped in the middle there. But why have I got this? Because 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I did the greatest practice hack of all time. And then went back into it in 2019. Bit of an interesting year, that one for me. But what I wanted to do is get back into this habit because I need to put this on the wall. Do I really go to town and do I basically allow all of you to know whether I'm failing or... Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. That means whenever I'm doing a video lesson with people, by the way, if you want to have a one-to-one session, I do have some slots available for people. And no matter where you are in the world, I've got students on all 7 continents now on the saxophone, including Antarctica. It's a weird experience trying to zoom to Antarctica, I'm telling you. But I am going to put that on my wall so my students, when they're on webcam, when I've got the webcam on, can see, and obviously you guys will be able to see on the vlog, what you do. This came out of a Tim Ferriss book. It's a question of how do you practice, and what you do is every day you practice, you put a cross in the box, and then the next day you put a cross in the box. Getting through the first 10 is the hardest. Motivating yourself to keep practicing every single day. Once you've got past 10, the mindset starts to change. You start asking the question, when am I going to practice today? And then it gets to the point of, I have to practice today. I don't want to lose my streak. And it's not like a streak where you keep it on your phone. This is a streak that everyone can see. Well, particularly you can see. And I put it up somewhere prominent. You remember in my biggest studio that I used to have, it was in a very prominent position. As I walked into the studio every single day, every morning when I came in to teach, practice, make a YouTube video, it was there. It was highlighting to me and it was saying, Dan, when are you going to practice today? That was yesterday. Let's do today's. question often is, what should I practice? And that's a real tough one. Maybe you've stumbled across this video on YouTube trying to find something to practice, or maybe you're looking on an online course thing and thinking, I'm not quite sure what I want to practice. I always think it's good to have goals. I've spoken about this before. Go to Cambridge Saxophone website, look at some of the New Year goals. There's a great video of Denzel Washington talking about why goal setting is so important. What I was doing there is I was working through the transcription projects. Every single one of those transcriptions I was just looking at, listening to, playing, whatever you want to do. They're on the Cambridge Saxophone website, and I'm going to be moving some new ones onto Sax.coach. I've got some new courses coming at Sax.coach where I'm taking you through 24 new pieces this year, all involving learning a standard or another type of pop, maybe a really good pop song, learning some transcription, learning some chord ideas. What ideas can you pull off that? You know, what I was running there was kind of run the altissimo register, etc., etc. I admitted that when we were in COVID, I barely practiced, and that was a real bummer for me. One of the things, I didn't have this. Some people I know really went to town and really practiced loads. I found it really difficult to motivate myself. One part of that was the fact that I squeezed all my teaching into the days I wasn't having my children, the days I had my children. I didn't want to spend that time practicing, so I dedicated it to homeschooling my children, doing things with the kids, etc. And because I didn't have any concerts or gigs coming up, I didn't really practice. Now, I did do a couple of lockdown gigs. You can watch one of them here. And that motivated me a little bit to practice. But now the gigs are coming in thick and fast. That's part of the reason I've not been doing too much vlogging recently, because it's been so busy. And I have a really big gig coming up in Cambridge on the 5th of February. It's called Our Music in Paris. It's focusing around Dexter Gordon's Our Man in Paris album, but also just basically talking about the whole effect Parisian culture has had on jazz. You know, Paris is massive, and Paris is also massive. I was thinking about this morning going for a walk. Without Paris, we don't get this. You know, read the Devil's Horn book. I've spoken about it before. Paris is kind of almost the birthplace of the saxophone. Yeah, I know Adolphe Sax was born in Belgium, but it was in Paris where he developed the instrument. It's Paris where Sidney Bechet made the soprano saxophone really its own, and then Coltrane picked up a soprano in Paris. We owe a lot to Paris, and of course Selma. Saxophones are made just outside Paris, and they're called Selma Paris. So, you know, there's an awful lot that we have to be thankful for in jazz and as a saxophone community for the city of Paris, and that's what I'm hoping to do. If you're in London and the southeast, tickets are available down there, but also, why don't come and stay in Cambridge? I'm going to have to buy some of those Velcro things, aren't I, for that? That is not going to stay up with sellotape. But yeah, in terms of practice motivation, I find having goals, and one of the goals often is, I don't want to screw up on stage. I want to make sure I learn this music, because if people are coming to hear me play, I have to make sure it's good. So I thought we'd finish today's vlog off, getting in focus for a start, with a little Q&A, because I haven't done a Q&A in a long time. So let me see if I can balance you guys on here, and let's fire away. So Ron Robbins 2737 talking about the synthetic reed that works, the Ven reed, says, great review Dan Watt for strength Ven. Do you recommend to replace a 2.5 plastic cover? I would suggest a 2, possibly a 1.5. I'm going to close this window, it's cold. There we go, a bit quieter now. So yeah, I would go down at least half a strength for a Ven reed, maybe even more. You didn't say whether you're on tenor or alto, or maybe even, well, you can't get soprano Ven reed yet, but tenor or alto. I've found that on alto they're much better than they are on tenor. Mario says, hey Dan, love to see that you got the new replacement reeds. I got my Ven reed a few days ago. I love them on alto, but a little iffy on tenor. How much did you adjust the tenor reed? I want to see if it makes a difference for me. I just basically got the reed geek, gave it one scrape across the back, and then a little bit of work on the vamp, is it, of the reed? I can never remember. I never do that much with them anymore. But basically that's sent to heart pit, and just did, but it's more flattening off the back. Probably just taking a little bit off, making the reed that little bit softer, which made the difference. BX Soup said, problem when you readjust the mouthpiece, ligature slips and moves. The thing is, I found that with almost every ligature, with the exception of the Sios, plastic, ones that sit around the top. Every other ligature I've ever had, I mean, the Francois Louis ones used to be an absolute nightmare. You used to have to take that off, hold the reed, readjust your mouthpiece, put it back on again. Absolute nightmare. I've got to say the 60s are actually better than a lot of them. 10 jazz albums you should listen to before you die. guy. AZH gets great list. I think Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue has to be in there, but not sure one you could take out. Maybe make it a top 11. I could make it a top 50. But I had to draw the line somewhere for the top 10. And my final question is from Stephen. It says, tech cheesy ideas. Sorry guys, not done this. My stage audio setup from your mic all the way through to the PA system. Choices we make with respect to kit, reverb and loops, part of onstage performance. I'm going to do that in another vlog this year, so make sure you are subscribing. Please do click a like if you don't already. I am so glad to be back. I'm going to try it again, get back into weekly vlogs. Daily vlogs are just impossible at the moment. One day maybe, when things settle down, I'll be there. But for now, it's a weekly, and I'm going to try and commit to that. But I am going to commit to daily practice, so I hope you'll join me on that. Post in the comments if you're going to join me, and we'll keep each other accountable. See you soon. Bye-bye.